back, dear viewers, to season's broadcast of SRAs. Another season. So far, we're gonna, open the books to another fresh page and start a new story. That story begins, of course, with the first race of the calendar, Indianapolis.
Looks like he lines up a move. Oh, this is good tight racing right here.
Inside or outside, what's gonna happen?
That's turn 7 into the grass. Heavy booping the snoot on the barrier.
Oh, side by side into the chicane. Oh my god. Oh my god.
We're off and away for SRA.
My McDonald's will come after.
That's right, McDonald's coming after. But tonight, right now, we are at Hungaroring. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another installment of Division 2 in Season 18 here in SRA. I am joined again by Donovan Colton and a new familiar face in the SRA community, Kelvin Lau. Boys, how we doing?
Good. It's not McDonald's though. It's Whopper Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Whopper Wednesday. Let's go.
How dare you, Donovan? It's McDonald's 24/7, and thank you for having me here.
Well, I'm sure this booth is going to be full of McDonald's Whopper Wednesday talks. But what we are here to do, of course, is race some pretty cool cars around a pretty famous track, Hungaroring. The one niche thing, of course, we have this week is the variable race. We've dodged the variable race so far in the first 6 races, but it is upon us now. Honestly, I can't really think of a better track apart from maybe like, I don't know. I think Coda variable would be interesting with the already annoying track limits for a lot of people, but I think Hungaroring is pretty good. I think it's difficult to drive in both the dry and the wet, so I think it's going to be an interesting one to experience. But boys, what do you think of the variable races? I want to gather an opinion on this.
I like the variable races. I don't know if I love Hungaroring. It's not my favorite track, but yeah, in the variable, I think it would probably be more fun. I don't know.
Very tricky course as is, even without the variable weather. So this is definitely a huge skill challenge just to keep it on track. And being variable weather also just makes the track limits where there is grip a lot tighter. So definitely we're going to see a lot of cars going sideways on the curbs. And yeah, traction is very hard to get here.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to be seeing a lot of, hopefully not a lot of drive-throughs. Obviously, we went from Coda last week. Did want to mention that, Jack obviously not being in the booth tonight. Very obvious reason why. He spoke too ill of Coda too many times, so he is no longer here. In all seriousness, though, he is enjoying a nice vacation up in Cape Cod with his fiance. So, big shout out to Jack and his fiance. I know they've been probably looking forward to this one for a while, and I hope they have a nice time together. But we are racing Hungaroring tonight. As Kelvin mentioned, this track is pretty scary in both dry and wet conditions, and more so in wet, just because you got to deal with the curves being a little bit more treacherous. But we are here to find out how these drivers can traverse. We do obviously have a lot of championship things to talk about, but first and foremost, before we get to that with Donovan, we're going to talk about the track map. Turn 1, very heavy braking zone. The run down to turn 1 after the start-finish line is quite long. We have seen some very peculiar incidents, specifically here in Division 2 in the past. Not going to name names, but you know who you are, down into turn 1. But if you get through turn 1 unscathed, turn 2 and turn 3 are no strangers to some side-by-side racing, not only in GT3s, but also in F1. A lot of things have gone on here in this first sector. Heading into turn 4, one of the most difficult corners on the track, very fast left, especially in the wet, can be very easy to catch yourself out. Heading to turn 5, you see a lot of these long hairpins around this section of the track, specifically sector 2, as we approach turns 6 and 7. Very difficult chicane sequence here to be fast. You've got to ride all of the bumps if you can, but also very easy to lose the car on exit there after turn 7. Into turn 8, 9, and 10, a swooping S section where the curbs are your friend in the dry. They are your absolute enemy in the wet. So really do not want to be touching them on exit there. Heading to turn 11 on exit, another big area where you want to be on the curbs as the throttle does carry you out there, but it's very tricky as well in the dry to be within the track limits. Heading to sector 3, a very crucial section here. A lot of low speed, a lot of places to really mess up on throttle, get too antsy. Heading on corner exit could really set you wide and possibly invalidate your lap as you approach turn 14 into the exit back onto the main straight. Guys, it's going to be a rough one, but of course, the season is drawing to an end and we have a lot of things to talk about. Donovan, take it away.
Yeah, we have interesting battle for sure. Mason Moffett can win the championship tonight, I believe. What were the conditions? He's got to score if Philip or Thomas win, he's got to score P2 to secure it. Otherwise, he basically just has to finish ahead of them. But yeah, really tight between Philip and Thomas, only 6 points between them. They've been, I guess that's usually what you want as teammates, to be, finishing right next to each other. And they have been doing that. Super solid, feeling super comfortable in that Nissan. Tyler Egley, not far behind, only 10 points behind Thomas there. And then it's quite a bit bigger of a gap then from there on out. Martin Smith in P5, Juan Caro P6. Michael Jeffrey still hasn't been, he's missed out on a lot of races, but still in P7 there. And then now into the sorry.
That was a
the
misclick.
silver, yeah, no worries. The silver championship, that is close, and this will definitely go down to the last race. It's now mostly just between Sean Curcio and Jess Osborne. Caleb Tenney was in the fight, but he's dropped down a little bit. He could still, claw back. So many things can happen with the silver drivers, just because a lot of, crazy things can happen. But yeah, really tight between Sean Curcio and Jess Osborne. And going on to the team standings, this is pretty much locked up. I mean, Philip and Thomas only need to score, what was it, like 15 points than Mason and Mike to get that team championship in. So definitely going to be, looking out for that. I mean, Mason, I have a feeling he's going to be quick here. I don't know how Mike feels about Hungaroring, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, 15 points is not much to need to get over, your opponents here. So yeah, should be interesting nonetheless, though.
So there has been a development according to the Twitch chat. Thomas Olhausen is not here. And that spells big news, Kelvin. If you hit drive, it'll escape you from the menu thing. But Thomas Olhausen is not here, which means Mike and Mason can really do some nice inroads in terms of the points here. And I do want to point out as well, right now you can see the track condition is on green. You can see in the top right that we have a few clouds. That is quite overcast here in Hungary at the moment. We're just a couple miles outside of Budapest, but we do have rain in 10 minutes time. Now 10 minutes, it means 10 minutes, but it could come earlier. So whoever is out on track first will likely have the best chances of getting themselves to the top step. We don't know when the rain is going to hit. It's going to be a game of attrition, and it's going to be one for the ages, I'm sure.
This is interesting for the Silvers. It's going to be, yeah, probably I mean, it says rain in 10. If that actually comes in 10, I mean, the fastest, time will be right before that rain hits. So, I mean, theoretically, I guess, but, yeah, which means the Golds might have a much slower track than the Silvers.
I'm excited. I think this is the main spectacle of why these rain races, not rain races in general, but these variable races are just so, they're so fun. It really makes this entire experience just a lot more interesting, especially with the whole championship kind of like concluding to these final two races. It's going to be an absolute blast, I think.
Yeah, crazy enough, I'm only seeing, 7 gold drivers? Is that right?
I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gold drivers.
That's crazy. That is a little bit different. Where are all the golds at, huh?
I have no idea. That is absolutely ludicrous. Honestly, this is unforeseen circumstances. But with obviously with Thomas Olhausen out of the picture for this race, at least for the championship, of course we do have the drop points, but I can't imagine that his drop race. Of course, he's been a couple of times standing on the top step of the podium this season, but not as nearly consistent as Mason Moffat has been. Mason has been the class of the field. Of course, having Michael Jeffries to keep him honest, but due to unforeseen circumstances with SimMagic P1000 pedals, not been the best of competitions after, so what is it, week 3 it was? But we are going to be on board with Tristan Zamora for the start of qualifying. Of course, we see that the track at the moment is green. It is quite slippy on exit from these corners, but I can guarantee you that these silver drivers will be experiencing the best conditions possible for qualifying at this given moment in time, because we have, again, no idea when that rain is going to hit. It could hit in the next 20 seconds for all we know. But right now, it is absolute time for Tristan Zamora, for the rest of the silver drivers to lock in, because, again, the rain could hit any second now. The windshield wipers could start moving. Right now, heading through sector 2, entering the fast left, and there's the rain, I think. Yep, you can see a little bit of the trickle on the windshield, so really this could be do or die for the silver drivers right now, and we do have rain. You can see it on the forecast in the top right, so this lap for Tristan Zamora is going to be very, very crucial.
Yeah, fastest lap being the first lap, and the first drivers basically getting the fastest condition. That's not very often that sort of thing happens in these races, but yeah, so really Tristan Zamora basically in the best situation, so he's just got to basically put in, you know, anything that he can here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, let's pretend you're Mason Moffat, for example. Obviously leading the championship, you've been comfortable for the first couple of races. I mean, very comfortable, very consistent as well. What kind of things are going through your mind right now? You're seeing these conditions, you're seeing the rain trickle onto the surface. Well, what's going through your mind?
I don't know. Well, one of the things that's difficult is also that fact that there's not a ton of gold drivers. So, I mean, theoretically, if you're getting a slower and slower track, you're going to have, you know, even more silver drivers in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, that's an interesting. He comes over the line, Tristan Zamora with a 148. Sean Curcio goes with a 147. It's getting faster and faster behind, which I guess makes sense for the first few laps. Caleb Tenney, that's an important one because he has some points to claw back to get back in the fight with Jess Osborne and Sean Curcio, and he is in front of both drivers. Barry Jerry going to the top by 500ths over Caleb Tenney. But yeah, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing, I mean, these might be the fastest times in the session.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously had a pretty interesting session in D1 last night with the track just kept getting better and better and better as the session went on, but we did have a little bit of rain, just the slightest drop in the middle of the silver qualifying, but it wasn't enough to really warrant any change in condition. But this is what really separates the people who have prepared for these events versus those who haven't. You really got to prepare yourself for these kinds of conditions, especially at a track like this. Caleb Tenney, a little bit sliding there, but we could see the delta just on these drivers. Barry Jarrett, for example, obviously maybe made a mistake at the moment, but is down on his time by quite a substantial bit. But a lot of drivers are still improving. The track is still green, as Dan pointed out very kindly to us in the chat. So the rain isn't really coming down as hard as the drivers are anticipating, but it's still getting worse and worse out there as it continues ticking down for the silver drivers here.
Yeah, one notable improvement, Jess Osborne 7/10 up on his time. It's been fluctuating around, but mostly on that 7/10. We got Shane Lewis coming over the line. I think he does improve, but
Sean Curso also improved on his second lap. He improved by about 0.3, so it looks like they're still getting the grip out there, but question is, when does that really drop off?
It's greasy now, so it is completely gone. So I honestly, there's a chance Caleb Tenney is improving on his lap, but given the condition, I mean, the law of averages is going to tell us that this could very well be the final deciding order for silver qualifying.
Yeah, and especially once you get into Sector 2, I imagine these sort of conditions just start to get, you know, way more difficult to keep a green delta here, as we're definitely seeing on the board. You know, still a couple drivers improving, but many are not. Jess Osborne actually goes into the pits. I don't know if he's just going to be calling it quits or if he's going to try to go out. I feel like there's not much of a reason to go out, but yes, if you want to get out, get a little bit more practice in, get more of an idea for how you know, if similar conditions arise during the race.
I mean, you never know. Right now, Barry Jerry's actually improving on his time a little bit, so maybe he's just got it down more than others do. About 2.5 tenths. I don't want to curse him as he does go around a bit. Yeah, he just loses some time there, so the grip obviously falling off. But yeah, the grip is just no longer there for these drivers as it was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I wonder if so we had Mason in the chat, the setup change. Jess Osborne does go back out. I wonder if, I don't feel like swapping on wets it will be quicker at this stage, but who knows? I mean,
no, absolutely not. Oh,
maybe.
Barry Jerry is improving on his time, actually 2.5 tenths up, so it's going to put himself into a very nice gap to get a little bit of a buffer from everyone else behind him. So Barry Jerry takes our words in the booth and just absolutely eats them up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as he does put himself in a pretty nice spot in silver qualifying with only 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, and that was with a 2/10, with losing 2/10 there in Sector 2. So a solid improvement there from Barry Jerry.
Yeah, you can see Shane Lewis fighting the wheel there on exit from turn 6, or entering turn 6 here. It's just not easy for these guys anymore. Roger Rodriguez putting the car up into P3. We just saw that as he jumped up into P3. About half a second behind, though. You can see there's literally no rain. It's almost unnoticeable, but it's there, and it has affected the track condition quite a lot. Yeah, just getting on the curbs, it's not easy for these silver drivers, but I can only imagine the Golds are watching this in the garage, absolutely dreading the fact that they may see Barry Jerry and some other silver drivers in between them on their charge for any sort of title host. So you can see, of course, Mike Gino and Mason Moffitt looking on with terror as they try to bring it back to the team championship. But Mason Moffitt, of course, does have a nice gap in the standings, and fortunately enough for him, his closest competitor, Philip Mueller, is also a gold driver. So they will obviously be qualifying on the same conditions. So it's going to be damage limitation for Mason. It's going to be trying to salvage what he can for Philip Mueller, especially with Thomas not being here. But who can really get some inroads in the silver championship? Of course, we did see that Sean Curcio is leading, I believe, and right now he sits P10, second behind Barry Jerry. So a lot of championship storylines can be made after this race in about 75 minutes time.
Yeah, I mean, it's big for Caleb Tenney. You know, he went in, you know, for all intents and purposes, tied with Jess Osborne and Sean Curcio last race. Didn't, you know, have the race really quite go his way, but he's, you know, got quite a few positions between him and Jess Osborne and Sean Curcio, so that is huge. And you know, the points gap is a lot higher this high up, so I mean, that could be just massive for the silver championship.
It's going to turn out to be a really spicy race if gold drivers are going to be stuck behind due to qualifying conditions, as we always complain.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, as a broadcaster, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Well, let's talk about pick these, because that's also another thing that we do like to do. I actually picked Barry Jerry, so I feel like an absolute prophet.
Genius, yeah.
I certainly did not have any influence over the conditions, but man, I am beaming right now.
Yeah, Anton's editing some config files.
Hey, I mean, you heard what Gino said at the start of fantasy this season. I abused my power too much, so that's it. We do see the gold gyres are out on track. Speaking of Gino, we're going to be on board with him a little bit. You can see from his interior, as he's following Philip Mueller, it looks a little bit slippy there. Yeah, Philip getting off the curb, of course, trying to warm up the tires a little bit there, but Kelvin, obviously seasoned veteran, you've raced in these conditions for a while, or at least have a slight idea of what to do. Honestly, none of us really do, but we all suffer from the same problem. What do you, as a driver, look for to change in the setup to really give yourself a better time in these conditions? Not necessarily the best time, because it's going to be difficult no matter what, but what do you really focus on in changing?
Strategy that I've worked out in the multiple opportunities that we've raced here is just to understand what kind of tire or brake setup you can sacrifice to get an operating window good enough to just land a lap. And then obviously when it comes down to the race, it's a complete dice roll. But really just, you really have to test out what works. And for the race, you're gonna have to think long run, probably for the first 30 minutes. And for qualifying, it's really, really challenging to understand track. And with conditions evolving, we only have 25 cars here. So, you know, like track probably isn't going to evolve as much as you would see during a race. So it's really what gets you the best 4 laps.
It's the name of the game here with Hungaroring. Donovan?
Well, I was just going to add on to that, especially with the gold drivers. Now we have 8 drivers. I think Selena Boonstra joined in late,
let's go.
which that's actually, I mean, for the sake of qualifying, that is pretty big, you know, having 1 extra car driving around. But still, that's not a lot of cars. So I would argue it's going to be track, you know, devolving, not evolving. Just because, you know, it's going to continue to rain and there's just not enough cars going around it to, you know, put down any rubber.
Mike Gino, yellow flag going back to the pits. Maybe, not sure what's going on there. Maybe had a little bit of a slip up heading into turn 6 there, or turn 5, and back to the pits. But most notable, I do want to talk about, as we mentioned, these conditions getting worse and worse for gold drivers. Mason has the right idea in trying to get out first, trying to get the best of the conditions before more rain falls onto the track. Of course, we don't really know what the times are going to be, right? It looks a little bit slow. They're very scary as he gets into the braking zone, starting sector 3 here. But yeah, this is, like I said, it's going to be damage limitation. Yeah, it does not look like there's enough grip for these slick tires to really get into a nice window here. But really the focus you want here, as Kelvin pointed out with the setup, is also just managing to get a lap. And that starts with tire pressures, right? Mason Moffat across the line, 3.7 seconds off. So as we mentioned, this very well could be the pole position, pole sitter we have with Barry Jerry right now with a 46.4, because Mason Moffat is at a 50.2.
And 2 other drivers behind him are also about a second off Mason's pace right now, so they're definitely struggling. But tires in a greasy setup definitely need some time to get somewhat of a window, so
for sure.
But that window is closing quick with how weather, as Donovan said, is devolving here.
Oh, he's done. He doesn't know. He doesn't feel like there's any more left in the tank, but I wonder if he's just trying to get his pressures into a better window. Oh, and it spells even worse disaster, because the track condition, ladies and gentlemen, is now damp. You can kiss whatever time you have left goodbye, because after it goes from greasy to damp, that means it's wet tires, and you can just forget about it at this point.
There's just no way they're gonna get faster, you know, than, I mean, yeah. That's tough. This is a tough quality session.
Wow, I mean, I'm gonna put out a bold prediction here and say Barry Jerry is the pole sitter for tonight's race.
That's very bold of you. I can't believe you'd say that.
Very, very bold. But yeah, I do want to, while the Golds are out here doing some practice laps, because I mean, you know, this is pretty much over for them. You want to talk about the race conditions. Of course, it's on the same day as qualifying, but we are still at risk of some variability with the weather. We do see in 30 minutes time that we do have a couple lines of rain, which is showing medium rain. But how much rain are we going to get? How much rain are we not going to get? Possibly. We don't know what's going to happen, right? But we are going to find out in about 6 minutes time as qualifying does draw to a close. You see Martin Smith going into the pits, Tyler Egley doing a few laps out on track, Selena Boonster crossing the line for her first flyer. It's going to be 6 seconds off the pace. So yeah, it's pretty much all she wrote for qualifying here with only 4 minutes left. I mean, what do we do now? Just talk about Whoppers and Big Macs, I guess.
Yeah, Whopper Wednesday. Yeah, shout out Whopper Wednesday. Well, yeah,
This is a great opportunity for these guys to get, if they haven't got a setup going, to just get a read on what is going to maybe work.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
I think it's important to scout it out.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Mason Moffat or Philip Mueller, you got to really focus on, you know, just like we mentioned earlier, that damage limitation aspect. Of course, with the variable conditions, we don't know how much it's going to rain. Of course, we will find out and talk about it when the time comes. But let's say it goes from a wet track to a dry track. When is going to be that optimal time to dive into the pits, right? You really want to try to get as clean a track for yourself as possible. Run your own pace if you know that you're faster than everyone else around you. But it's so difficult to predict, especially for these races. And this is what really makes it just an absolute blast to do these races.
Yeah. So it depends on who you are, I guess, if it's a blast or not. But I enjoy these sorts of situations. But yeah, this is crazy. I don't think I can't remember a single race where every single gold driver was behind the silver driver. We had Trey Morgan point out in the chat he's serving a quali ban this race, but it's kind of lucky for him because he's basically still just going to be starting with his gold competitors because, you know, just in the pack of golds there.
Laguna D1 had gold drivers start behind silver. Is that a few seasons ago, right?
Yeah, that was season
I'm just
15.
complaining. Yeah.
That's right. I didn't race that one.
Back when Donovan was still racing ACC.
Way back in his day.
The prehistoric era of SRA, when Donovan Colton was an active driver.
So sad.
Yes, we do have a little bit more rain now. We went away from the couple clouds and a very thin line to just one cloud and not so thin line. But we are increasing rain in 10 minutes. We were on board a little bit with Mike Gino there. You can see the track is getting wetter. You can see also in the picture, we can see Tyler Egley just trying to wrangle that car around the corners. And we do have Mason Moffat is actually past one silver driver. So there goes that. That could be huge. I mean, it's one position away from the nearest gold driver, but it just means that hope is not lost.
Yeah. Well, now we can't use the stat that all the golds qualified behind the silvers.
Yeah, Mason just had to ruin it, did he?
Just coincidentally, he's the championship leader too.
Boo-hoo. Yeah, he is in the wets, so maybe I wonder if the wets in this damp condition could spell a little bit of improvement. He is pretty much even on his delta, only 3/10 away from the nearest car ahead of him being DJ Watts. I feel like he's not going to be able to gain enough through these very tight sectors that the slicks may have had the advantage with over on that green and greasy track. We do see a couple of drivers actually still improving. Tyler Egley trying to make the best of a bad situation, trying to get himself ahead of Wilder Vargas. Statistically is still in that championship hunt, but more or less a long shot from this point forward. But yeah, quali drawing to a close now, down in 3, 2, 1, and it is now a red timing, and it's checkered flag for these drivers. Mason Moffitt peeling into the pit lane. But Tyler Egley still improving a little bit. If he does improve another half a tenth, he could see himself shoot past Wilder Vargas. And that could as well be huge in terms of just starting position, because the inside is definitely easier to negotiate than the outside here, but then it becomes the outside for turn number 2, and he does barely get past Wilder Vargas. So that's one position gained. Qualifying is still in full effect here for the gold drivers, but how many people are going to be improving? Not too many. The only driver improving on a valid lap at the moment is Philip Mueller, and he's starting a couple spots behind Mason Moffitt. So really matters here how much he can improve, and he's up about a tenth and a half, maybe 2/10 as he does exit the final corner in turn 14. It's not going to be much of an improvement, but it's still an improvement, barely, just inside the 50.0 mark. And yeah, I mean, that's very Jerry. Take a bow, really just clutching up in the specific moment in time. Puts his car on pole position with Caleb Tenney and Roger Rodriguez in P2 and 3. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have rain on the horizon, but until then, we're going to take a short ad break, and we'll be right back.
A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favourite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT 3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specialising in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
And a new SRA sponsor, Echoes of Nox. Explore an abandoned space station as you uncover the secrets of why you were left behind. Fight with 3 AI factions and reclaim the station. Wishlist Echoes of Nox on Steam today, releasing in Q2 of 2026. I do want to briefly jump back to this. We do have one more round after. We didn't mention it in the initial stages of the broadcast, but we are with only 2 weeks left. Nürburgring is the final race of the season next week. Be sure to catch us for that event in just a week's time. We are here for the start of the race, and ladies and gentlemen, it is damp as could be. It did rain a little bit in between the qualifying session, but not enough to get the track wetter than it was for qualifying. And Barry Jerry's going to line us up on pole position with Caleb Tenney right next to him on a damp track. We do see a little bit more rain in 10 minutes time, but in 30 minutes, it's more of the same. It's not as exciting as it was in qualifying, but we don't know if it's going to dry out towards the end of the race. Obviously, it's going to be the same level of rain for the majority of it, but who knows what's going to happen with this very unique order. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's difficult what the strategy is going to be like, and obviously, we'll see what it. I mean, it looks like Barry Jerry's there on wets, but those wets are going to get toasty not after long. It does say plus rain in 10. That could mean anything, I guess, but yeah, we shall see.
Until then, let's run through the starting group. We have Barry Jerry taking a pole position, resuming his dominance in Division 4 from last season, on pole position here for Division 2, and leading the Silver Division, as we do have Caleb Tenney right behind him in P2, really trying to solidify his chances as Silver champion this season, and he's done pretty well so far in qualifying to really give himself the best shot. Travis Fletcher jumping in the pit lane, not really sure what happened there, maybe on the wrong tires. We'll talk about that later when it comes. Roger Rodriguez in P3, very solid position for him. Shane Lewis in P4. We got Lucas Conzeras in P5, and Alexis following him is Jess Osborne in P6, obviously fighting for that silver championship alongside Sean Kersey, who is in P10. Steve Foster in P7. We got Ren Aoki in P8. We got Tristan Zamora in P9, the first driver to come out in qualifying to put down his last, what wasn't the best in qualifying, sitting in P9. Sean Kersey in P10. Rounding out the top 10, we have, or just outside the top 10, we have Pat Cockcroft in P11. And trusty old Rexy. We got Dylan Bonsall in P12 in the pink Mercedes. Love to see it. We got Sean Williams, Pat's teammate in P13. We got Sick SVG in P14. We got Ramon Lorenzo in P15. We got Jackson Thomas in P16. We got DJ Watts in P17. And the first gold driver on the leaderboard for us here is Mason Moffitt, the championship leader in P18. Really going to see how he can carve his way through the field on a track that is nicknamed Monaco without walls. It's going to be very difficult to pass here for the championship leader, but we will get to that when it comes down to the green flag. Sean Leach is in P19. We got Wilder Vargas in P20. Tyler Egley in P21. Mike Gino in P22. Selena Boonstra in P23, a little bit touching the grass there almost. That was a bit scary. We got Martin Smith in P24, Philip Mueller in P25, P last on track at the moment, but in the pits, of course, Travis Fletcher. Not sure what happened there, possibly wrong strategy, wrong setup. Returns to the garage from P13. We got Trey Morgan serving a pit lane start in P27, finalizing his set of changes, but we are going to jump back up with Barry Jerry. How are we predicting this race is going to go before we get to green flag? Quick. I need like a 3-word answer.
Lap 1 pit.
Chaos ensues.
Love it.
We do have one driver on dries, and that's a good call out from Joel.
Yeah,
Oh.
Shane Lewis, I think.
Shane Lewis is on
drive,
slicks. Wow,
P4.
that is a bold choice. Well, we are getting to that start-finish line, and it does creep up on you very fast. We're going to go green right about now. Barry Jerry is pretty far ahead in his box and is going to have a very comfortable time leading the pack away into turn 1. Let's not have any Season 9 D2 debacles here. Everyone gets away relatively cleanly. You can see in the picture in the bottom right there, we could see we're on board with Shane Lewis, and Barry Jerry does go wide. Everyone else negotiates turn 1 pretty well. Caleb Tenney does get a nice run on Barry Jerry. He's going to have to defend. It looks like everyone is alive, but let's see where Mason Moffitt is going to end up after lap 1. Barry Jerry going for a defensive line into turn 2. Roger Rodriguez nearly pushing Caleb Tenney out of the way into turn 2. Into turn 3 we go. These drivers are single file at this point in time. Sean Leach is yellow flagged. Let's see what happened with him real quick, because he was in that battle with the gold drivers.
Relatively clean, I mean, for Hungaroring. Oh, he just dives on the inside. That's big. That is not ideal for a lot of these. I didn't see who all he hit. Did he hit Philip?
I think he hit Mike, who was obviously in the team championship hunt with Mason Moffitt. It's all going down here in the chicane. A lot of drivers going off track here, there, everywhere. Mason Moffitt is up a couple of spots, up 2 spots. Selena Boonstra, our biggest gainer, is up 6 spots right behind Mason from P23 up into P17. So let's see how we can negotiate these conditions. Of course, it's going to be difficult to really gauge what kind of pressures you go for. Mason Moffitt trying to carve his way through the field up the inside of Dylan Bonsall in turn 10 there. But yeah, really going to have to focus on keeping these tires in a nice window.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the name of the game here. Very curious to see how many people come into the pit, specifically the gold drivers, especially ones who are involved in that little fender bender.
Shane Lewis currently down 3 spots from his dry tire gamble. I assume that's only going to get worse as rain probably keeping the track a bit wet.
Oh, a little bit slow on exit there, and Sean Curcio, and everyone, there's a huge pileup at turn one. What's that going to spell for our drivers? Mason Moffitt is clean through, but there's a huge incident involving a lot of cars. Let's see, I am curious to see what Philip Mueller has pit. This could mean big news for the championship, but we obviously don't know what the weather is going to be like in 30 minutes time, and after that we see decreasing rain, but how much is it going to decrease by? But there was a huge incident back there with a lot of drivers. It involved Dylan Bonsall, I believe Ramon Lorenzo. We could see here, you could see just a huge mess. And it's still, people are still side by side. Ramon Lorenzo with Dylan Bonsall, Steve Foster, Jackson Thomas with Wilder Vargas, Tyler Egley trying to get a little bit of nose up the inside of Wilder Vargas there, heading to the chicane, but it's just so difficult to pass around here. Martin Smith going for a big dive on that looks like to be DJ Watt's car 42, but Dylan Bonsall's off the track. I don't know what happened there. It looks like a little bit of an incident and just waiting to rejoin. And Caleb Tenney actually is into the lead.
Yeah, we have a change for the lead, and he's pulled a gap. He made that change for the lead right when that all that chaos happened, that incident towards the beginning of that lap. Don't know how he got that, but he already has a decent lead, over a second of a gap to Barry Jerry.
That he does. We just wanted to catch in the replay. Mason Moffitt is up into P10 already, getting past Sean Curcio. So we can see the fastest lap, of course, it just belongs to Caleb Tenney. He does have the clean track to his advantage, but Mason Moffitt, of course, biggest mover at the moment, really proving his championship worthiness at the moment, up into the top 10 positions. Trey Morgan, of course, starting from the pits, battling DJ Watts here down to turn one to Lexus, obviously able to keep that advantage over the BMW on the straights, but how will it end up after turn two? Trey Morgan confident on the brakes, of course, DJ not trying to hit the car in front of him, more being Martin Smith in the Audi, and Sig SVG going a little bit wide. Shane Lewis not electing to pit. He is, of course, was involved in that turn one fiasco, and he still is on the slick tires, so I can imagine he is very much suffering in this condition as the rain continues to fall and he's just sliding off the track. I think you got to pit if you're Shane.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed like so many cars are struggling to get their cars stopped. This might be a similar situation here. It touches the curb, I think. Yeah, it touches the first curb, touched the second curb, and it just...
A lot of curb touching going on, I'll tell you that much. But Caleb Tenney has grown the lead up to 2 seconds now. The top three are separated by a net 4 seconds, each between them 2 seconds, and Roger Rodriguez is trying his best to keep on the bumper Lucas Clanzeris, but not doing very well. Renioki in P7 trying to follow Jess Osborne through into the top 5 scoring positions, but nothing doing so far. Pat Cockcroft having to defend now for Mason Moffitt. Mason, of course, on the attack, on the charge, but does he know where his championship rival is right now? Mike Gino is about I want to say 8-9 seconds behind him on track. Philip Mueller going through turn 3 right now. You can see on the track map of car 39. But really, let's see how this pans out. The undercut could really be the strategy here, starting from all the way back there. And we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled on the times, as Mason Moffitt is up into P9, does have the fastest lap now with the 50.4, and he is much quicker than the cars ahead of him.
He has had... done a phenomenal job at staying away from all the chaos, up 9 positions from where he started. So, really solid. Selena up 11 positions too, by the way. So they're doing a fantastic job at keeping away from all of the chaos there. It looks like that was Sean Williams. I don't know if he looked like, with him being offline there, he might have just gotten out of the way and thought, that might as well make this easy.
Philip's gamble to pit early is really going to depend on what happens with the weather in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And sometimes we see the weather stay static, and if it holds up for him, I think the undercut can definitely help him, considering he's driving a GTR, which has great tire wear to its characteristic. While Mason is making moves through the pack right now, I do think that the gamble could pay up. It really is win-win situation. Philip was already at the back. You might as well try something drastic.
Yeah, not really much to lose for Philip Mueller, as Kelvin very insightfully pointed out that it really just depends on the weather in 30 minutes time. We are at the moment monitoring that it's going, of course, lighter rain as time goes on. Tyler Egley is side by side here with Martin Smith as they enter turn 12 here, turn 13, my apologies. But yeah, it's very treacherous conditions for these drivers. Caleb Tenney has pulled out an absolute monster gap, and Rene Yoki is falling back. Mason Moffitt into P8, going ahead of Sean Curcio, and Rene Yoki looks like he had a bit of a mistake because he was up into P7 for a little bit, following Jess Osborne. So now he's got a battle with Sean Williams here. Yeah, we talked about how these drivers just are carving their way through the field. You can really see those two really prepared for these kinds of races. You know, Selena, of course, a veteran in ACC and has driven the Porsche for a while, probably knows her way around these kinds of conditions. We see Mason Moffitt, of course, trying to stay on the bumper of Pat Cockcroft, but really can't really get too aggressive because, of course, you have everything to lose, nothing to gain. Well, you have the championship win to gain, but obviously you see your rival pitting. He's closing up on Pat Cockcroft here, but Pat, of course, running his own race, doesn't have to move for Mason Moffitt, and Mason is probably growing pretty frustrated at the moment.
Speaking of frustrated, Jackson Thomas there going wide with Tyler Egley on the inside, and that going wide and touching the curbs ended up losing him 2 more positions. So yeah, that's something that you have to be so careful about, going side by side. And here they go side by side into the chicane. I think, yeah, it looks like Trey Morgan backs out of that wisely, because that is, you know, dangerous to do in the dry sometimes, and doing it in the wet, I imagine, is significantly more. Jackson Thomas all over the curbs. I feel like that's got to be a little bit of. I can only remember driving Hungaroring in like very wet conditions, and I remember not liking the curbs at all.
Yeah, the curbs are not friendly. Some you do kind of want to be on, but just because the throttle will carry you out there, but the majority of them are very unfriendly. As we see Trey shooting past his braking a little bit. We do have a question from Art in the chat asking, is Philip at least faster? Right now, Mason's last lap was a 50.9. The one before was a 51.1. And Philip is kind of around that area, so it kind of just means that, you know, the pack is evened out. Philip's pace isn't electric, but I mean, Mason is still stuck behind. We could see also in the pit following with the bumper cam with Mason Moffitt, he is still behind this pack of cars with Pat right ahead of him in the 992. We do have a drive-through with Dylan Bonsall. Don't know if he collected 4 track limits in the span of 10 minutes, but honestly, that's quite impressive. It's very easy to do around here in these conditions.
Yeah,
yes.
easy to do.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do around here, in the wet, at least, from speaking from experience.
Yeah, I guess for...
As I sit on board with Mason Moffitt, I think in my mind, I would be thinking, what is the risk versus reward here? Fighting Pat. Obviously, he's got championship on his mind. So what would you guys think if you're sitting behind a driver that you're clearly faster than, being held up in traffic, and you don't really have an idea of what your championship contenders are doing, basically Philip way back. What do you think about when you're in Mason's spot right now?
I mean, personally, I'm always thinking that I'm you know, not wanting to get held up. I'm always a fan of risky earlier pitting strategies and that sort of thing, and especially because you don't know what your you know, opponent is doing. You don't know the lap times unless you, I guess, you have a race engineer. You know, right now they're not that, you know, different in pace. They're actually running pretty similar pace between Philip and Mason. I mean, within a tenth of each other, basically. But Mike Gino, Mason's teammate, he's 4 seconds behind Philip right now, but he just put in the fastest lap of the race by a few tenths. I want to say it was by about 3 or 4 tenths. So now he's somebody that's probably in comms with Mason, or at least maybe. I don't know.
I doubt it.
Yeah, no, I said that, and then I was like, no, Mike, so maybe not. Ooh. Oh man, touching curbs there. Yeah, this is not going to be a fast lap.
Mason was losing out a little bit. We could see in the pip he's actually fighting with Jess Osborne at the moment. Looks like Jess had a little bit of a moment earlier in the lap, and he's still, I believe, side by side. Or he does get ahead of Jess Osborne, so that's another position gain for Mason, but it's going to be some time wasted, of course, battling some cars on track. You know, it's fun battling cars, especially, you know, in these races. It's very, very entertaining when you do get side by side, but for Mason right now, it's really just get your head down, try to avoid any sort of controversy as much as you can. Ren Aoki with a drive-through, so that's already 2 on the good for Division 2. I guess we took over the drive-thrus from last week. We had, of course, the over-under, and they decided to carry it over to, you know, double it and give it to the next track with Hungaroring.
It was 3 tracks in a row that are kind of higher risk of drive-throughs than many. So I guess it was 3rd time's the charm. There's a couple messages in chat that I want to point out. Dan saying seeing decreasing rain probably would wait till 40 minutes. That's a really good point, and that's a good thing for, you know, Mason to be thinking about. If the rain is decreasing, then he will benefit to wait longer and, you know, take that pit stop later, because at that point Philip is going to be hurting. You know, his tires are definitely going to be hurting in comparison. But and then also Joel saying Mason's got 85 drop points, so he doesn't really need to do anything crazy, and that is another really good point. You know, I mean, he's already made up a ton of positions, so, you know, it's not like it's a do or die situation here for him.
Yeah, I have a feeling Mason is just trying his best to, you know, see out the conditions, of course, trying to play it smart. At the same time, though, we talked about how he has such a comfortable gap in the championship, relatively speaking, to Philip, especially with Thomas not being here. He's only got to worry about 1 car, and seeing his teammate, who obviously was behind him, only about 4 seconds behind Philip, and he's just knowing that he's not the fastest. Mason, Moffitt, and Pat Cocker are fighting for their lives at the moment. But really, if you're Mason in this situation, I would consider pitting. You obviously just want to be ahead of Philip going to the final round, on track, at least at the end of the race. I think that's the best course of action, in my opinion. Side by side here, though, Mason Moffitt going for the move, gets it done on Pat Cockcroft, and that's going to be up into P6 for Mason Moffitt, but Pat is not done yet. Of course, trying to fight to hang on tooth and nail here with Mason Moffitt, the championship leader, but Mason does get by decisively into P6 heading around turn 14, so that's going to be huge for the rest of the story for his race.
One-armed Pat gave it all he got.
He did.
He held him off for a long time. Like, that was good driving by Pat. Mason, clearly the faster driver.
He's sending it on him. Wow.
I don't think he did that on purpose.
I don't think so either, but Mason, wise to it, does anticipate it and goes over and under. Very, very textbook move. The rain isn't really falling down as hard as we thought it would. But it does make these conditions tricky. I think damp is probably one of the more annoying ones to really deal with, just because your tires get so worn out so fast if you don't get them right from the get-go. As we see with the times, you know, looking to Mike Gino, he is closing up to Philip Mueller. We could see that gap visibly getting smaller and smaller. Right now it's down to 3.8 seconds. When they both came out of the pits, or at least when Mike came out of the pits, it was around 5.5. So Mike is really putting the pressure on Philip Mueller, which is good for the team championship, but also a good indicator for Mason when he wants to pit.
I just got to say, this battle in the pit is insane.
Yeah, you want? How about we put it up on the main screen? We can get Kelvin too.
Yeah, because it has been crazy. There was some crazy stuff between Egley and Smith. It set off cars behind as Egley sent it on. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was Lorenzo that dropped a couple spots.
Lorenzo. Yeah, around the outside and, you know, touching the curbs, and now Egley's just making a massive break for it, and yeah, it's that was quite the battle between those guys.
That was a really nice fight. But some of the gold drivers, they're really getting through the traffic now. And that's what we like to see in this type of mixed race, when we had gold qualify behind silver.
just good battles. Yeah, Dan said I think Egley and Smith or Smith should pit, but then they got around all the drivers that they were battling, and they've got a bit of a clear track for now, so they might be electing to stay out for a little bit longer and kind of get a better idea of what the race is going to do. I mean, it looks like it's just going to stay just barely damp basically the whole time. Didn't send them.
Everyone touched the curb there.
Bit of an antsy tap there from Sean Williams as he tries to push Travis Fletcher through the corner. It doesn't work out for the best of both worlds there. Sig was almost able to pull alongside there of the 992 into turn 2, but wasn't able to do much with it. And Travis Fletcher does remain ahead of Sean Williams for the time being, but it looks like the 992 got a good run on the Aston here. Through turn 4 we go here. And this is, again, we talked about how this corner is very tricky. Ramon Lorenzo picking up the 3rd drive-through of the night, and we just crossed the 25% mark, heading into the 30% mark of the race distance, and we are already on 3 drive-throughs, so these conditions proving very, very difficult for these drivers.
I'm sure it's hurting him. That really sucks to see.
Yeah, given the fight he was in as well.
Yeah, that's
Just
always
a little lap time update as well between Mason and Philip Mueller. So Mason last lap was 4/10 quicker than Philip. I'm wondering if Philip hit too early and he doesn't have his tires in the right window for these conditions. I would expect Philip with clean air to just pull in the track times, or the lap times, and he's really not doing that at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. Mike has actually been reeling in that gap. We talked about how it was 3.9 seconds before. Now it's down to 3.5. So really unexpected here from Philip Mueller. We're going to hop back on board Mason Moffitt because he is very, very close to Tristan Zamora into turn 2 here. Ramon Lorenzo going to the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. But Mason is just making very, very quick work of these drivers. Not going to say easy work because some of them did give him a little bit of trouble with Pat Cockcroft right behind him on the track. But it's for good fun. We're all racing here for the same goal, try to win the race, and Mason's really putting the pressure now on Tristan Zamora in P5. But Caleb Tenney, his gap, we did mention that it was up to 2 seconds earlier on. Barry Jerry seemingly has gone into a kind of a groove in these conditions. His last lap was 4/10 quicker than Caleb Tenney's last lap. So really reeling in that gap to P1. Mason Moffitt, of course, basically on track to be the race leader if he's given a little bit more clear air. But right now he's not really been getting much of that. As he tries to get past Tristan Zamora, he's got to deal, of course, with Roger Rodriguez after, and the gap kind of just gets a little bit farther and farther as he gets up the field. But you could see on the track map, Mason Moffitt going for the inside there, but Tristan Zamora defending it very, very strongly. But Mason Moffitt gets through cleanly. Some clean driving, some clean defending on both sides there. Mason going a little bit wide, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, it shouldn't affect him too much. Yeah, that was actually really good driving from both of them. And Mason has this has not been easy, but he's definitely been. I imagine this is actually pretty fun for him because these battles have been really solid, and it definitely seems like they're good battles. So, and a bit of an exercise too. He's had some exciting races this season, but he's had also some, just sitting at the front, and this is a very different kind of race than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Roger Rodriguez actually going wide there, and that's going to bring Mason into the top 4, so really didn't have to worry about passing him, losing too much time behind that. But Roger making a mistake, and it's going to make him pay the price. Now he's going to deal with Tristan Zamora and Pat Cockcroft, two people that he's been racing this entire season, it seems, in the middle pack of D2. We obviously saw a lot of stuff with Roger and Caleb Tenney, I believe, last week in Coda, so really into the thick of it now with these drivers. So Mason Moffitt is through into P4. Now a 2-second gap to Lucas Clanzares. Let's see how quickly that can be closed up. Let's go over on board with Tyler Egley, who's been fighting with Wilder Vargas for the better part of 22 minutes now. Of course, from the very start of the race, sitting in P4 in the championship. Tyler's just been pretty consistent all season long. Had a couple moments at Monza, a couple moments elsewhere, but really, really strong. Quality-wise, last week, of course, qualified on, I believe it was pole position. and then had that very miraculous pole at Laguna Seca where didn't consider him as a threat to anybody until out of nowhere just puts it on pole position as a silver driver. That was obviously his gold promotion into the big leagues. But yeah, story of the season for a lot of these drivers has been pretty awesome. We did see Dan point out, and also I believe that's Flava Flav. That's I believe that's Jason Yarin pointing out that it is going drizzling in 30 minutes. Very light rain. So the weather will make tires pretty much turn into tomatoes, into balloons that will pop very quickly. I don't think Joel is going to turn greasy because just the rain on the track already. We did see Renaoki a little bit yellow flag at turn 10 there go off, but yeah, Mason Moffitt has closed the gap up to Luis Gonzalez. It is now 1 second, and Mason getting the fastest lap. His first lap with semi-clean air is a 50.062. Last lap was 9/10 faster than Philip Mueller.
Yeah, Mason's definitely fastest car on track right now. I'm surprised Egley hasn't hit yet. I feel like as
we
Dan
got a crash too. Rodriguez.
What happened here?
See what happened here. Maybe
I'm
another
guessing
turn
the
4.
curb.
Yeah, curb.
Literally a carbon
Outside,
copy.
Inside, outside. Yeah,
That sucks for Roger.
it does. Yeah, just to be a silver up as high, and yeah, something to go wrong. Of course, that's always a bummer.
We are witnessing
Mason is
a drive from a champion right now. Makes another move into the top 3. Mason Moffitt. Dare I say it's over?
This has been impressive for Mason. I mean, he's been showing why he's the championship leader, I guess. And like I said, he's got to be having a fun race, right?
I mean, yeah, crowding his way through the
when
pack.
you make this many moves, for sure. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Of course, he's still got to overtake these guys ahead of him. Barry, Jerry, and Caleb Tenney are ahead of him on track, but if he makes the same kind of quick work that he's done with Lucas here, I don't really see a chance where Mason doesn't win by 15 seconds. So
Seems like he's got his tires in a really good operating window
yeah,
for him to be 7/10 quicker than any car.
yeah, it's kind of
these
the name of the
conditions.
game here, right?
Really.
With these conditions.
Gino's only 0.3 off, but Mason Moffitt's really done a good job here. Really hats off.
Back to this battle though, we're seeing it in both the pip and the live feed. These two have been inseparable for the entirety of the race. I wonder, Tyler's got to be thinking of pitting soon because he clearly has been lashed onto the rear diffuser of Willard Vargas for the better part of 25 minutes now. Surely he thinks he's faster. He could maybe pull off a move into the pit lane, really sending it over the chicane there where Wilder doesn't seem as confident as Tyler is. And yeah, the Ford is just pressuring the 296 through these twisty corners, twisty bits with Steve Foster ahead. Yeah, it's undercut territory for Tyler Egley at this point in time for sure.
I wonder if, I feel like a lot of cars, we have some cars coming into the pits, Rodrigo Rodriguez, he had that unfortunate incident, but we haven't seen a lot of just normal, undercut, strategies. I say that as Sean Curcio comes into the pits. Was that Jess Osborne too? Yeah.
Yes, so two contenders.
Both of them coming up the pits at the same time.
I think with only 30 minutes left, or 33 minutes left to race, this is... You've pretty much passed any window that you need to read weather.
For sure, yeah.
So it's that time.
Absolutely, and Wilder Vargas is trying to make a move on Steve Foster, and it looks like he's got the inside nice and easy, done and dusted for the moment, but Steve Foster is going to have the inside for turn 2. which has proved to be the line of choice for a lot of drivers. But let's see if Wilder can really carry it around the outside, or does Tyler Egley see an opportunity to go through up to inside of Steve Foster? The answer is no. With Wilder Vargas, the outside turns into the inside for the next corner, does have a compromised run. It's going to invite, oh, Steve Foster has a little bit of trouble over the curbs, helped a little bit by Wilder Vargas, but Tyler Egley is on the bumper. They've been cleared of one car. It looks like both of them just a little bit flabbergasted by what happened. Tyler Egley going as aggressive as possible, trying to attack Wilder's slight moment of confusion there as he tried to pass Steve Foster, but it looked like a little bit of a miscommunication of lines, it seems.
Oh my goodness, that was a hard hit.
Mm-hmm.
A silver battle update between Jess Osborne and Sean Curcio. They went into the pit together, but Sean Curcio, as he comes out of the pit, gets stuck behind another car. I believe that's
Philip Mueller,
who obviously had a huge undercut. So that's not going to help Sean Curcio too much right now. I believe Jess Osborne is about 2 seconds up in front of him, so he's got some work to do.
Absolutely. And I mean, who doesn't love a championship battle down to the final blow? Very well could be, as Sean Curcio has been holding an advantage for quite some time now in the silver championship. I remember they were quite, I think there was a three-way tie almost, or it was very, very close, maybe like a couple points separating them, but it was Caleb Tenney, Sean Curcio, and Jess Osborne, the three of them holding the podium spots in the silver battle. But Mason Moffitt still holding pretty strong. Shane Lewis is blue flagged between the two of them. We can see the blue flag, the marshal waving it. And again, these are the moments where if you're Mason, you really want to avoid, because it's just like, you don't know what could happen, right? It's
unnecessary risk in a way.
Exactly. But he is fast. He is the fastest car on track still. With the last lap of, let's see where Philip Mueller is. Philip Mueller's last lap was a 51.4, and Mike Jr. was 50.9. Mason with a 50.5. So still the fastest car on track. Of course, caught up to Barry Jerry pretty quickly, and is now trying to make a move for P2 effectively. But Barry Jerry isn't yielding. He is still trying to fight, trying to hang on to this podium position. Of course, I don't think he's very close to challenging for that silver win in D2, but if you're in this position in a D2 race, you're going to try your best to defend it.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, Caleb Tenney, though, I mean, this is a huge race for him in his championship, because, Barry Jerry peels into the pits.
That's a good idea. Very good idea.
Yeah, very, very good idea. And Mason Moffitt, I feel like, if he didn't go into the pits, Mason, should have come into the pits. But yeah, he's still, lapping very well. So he, is probably still happy to do another lap or two.
Sometimes when you're in the zone, you don't really want to get out of it by sitting in the pit for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
that's how I feel sometimes.
Oh no, yeah, it's kind of funny, because sometimes you feel like you need to go into the pits, and kind of mental reset in that second stint ends up being a lot stronger. But sometimes you go into the pits in that second stint, you're like, wait, what happened? Like it all just kind of falls apart. So yeah, sometimes, like you said, if you're in the zone, you got just stay in the zone.
We did see Wilder Vargas peel into the pit lane from that battle with Tyler Egley, and I really think Tyler missed out on a grand opportunity there to undercut the Ferrari and try his best to maybe make up the difference in the pits. But now that opportunity has squandered for the Mustang driver, and Wilder Vargas is going to be out onto the track, out of his pit lane, is peeling out the 296 right there. Quite a long pit lane, not the longest that we've seen, of course, this season, with Spa obviously being on the calendar. But it's already that time where we've passed the halfway mark, and the weather forecast isn't going to lie to us anymore, right? We do obviously see the drizzle. It's continuing in 30 minutes time. That will be the final race condition for these drivers, and nothing is going to change in terms of rain level, right? Of course, or not rain level specifically, but it's not going to be some drastic change from from dry to wet to dry. Caleb Tenney does peel into the pits. It's going to make Mason the overall leader of the race. So I mean, we probably have foreseen this outcome maybe 20 minutes ago, just seeing him carving out the field like a pumpkin on Halloween. But Mason Moffitt into the lead, effectively probably going to be P2 after everything's said and done with Caleb Tenney pitting. But right now, Mason is in the best spot that he can be. Sean Kershaw, crucial for the Silver Championship, has a drive-through.
Oh, and Gino spun out as well after the chicanes.
Oh no.
Wow. Two very consequential things happening at once, and they're right next to each other
the
on
curb.
track.
So Mike spun on the curb. Sean got on the curb and got a drive-through.
That's kind of crazy.
Caleb has been in the pits for quite a while.
Yeah, I feel like that was a long pit stop.
Where's Barry Jerry? That's what I'm concerned about. Barry Jerry is behind all these people. What happened to Barry Jerry? He was stopped for 39 seconds. Did he have damage?
I wouldn't.
Wow, Roger Rodriguez now with a drive-through.
I wouldn't have imagined that Barry Jerry had that damage.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like.
Unless it was from the pass between P1 and P2.
Yeah, on that lap.
Oh yeah, he did. He did lose time.
Catch.
That's right. Oh
But
man.
we'll never know.
So he forgot to unclick check damage or repair damage. Oh, it is all kicking off here in Hungaroring, and I mean, what a pivotal race in the championship it is for these drivers. Mason Moffitt finally electing to be in the pit lane now, with Pat Cockcroft going to inherit the overall lead once again, as the leader does peel into the pit lane. Tyler Egley still not pitting. Oh no, he's pitting now. Okay, so let's see where he filters out with Wilder. Of course, Gino did have a spin, so he's 2.6 seconds behind Wilder Vargas. But Barry Jerry is right in front of Wilder Vargas, sitting right now on track in P12. A couple of other drivers. We obviously do have to know Caleb Tenney has pit and was stopped for 32 seconds, just as Jess Osborne was. So the optimal time stopped through the pits as well is about a minute and 1 second. A flat minute if you are Shane Lewis. Looks like the BMW we saw with Michael Jeffries has been pretty strong in the pits. I think it's just the way that it starts up is quite strong. But Caleb Tenney rounding out the final corner. Let's see when Mason starts to move. We obviously have this battle in the pip going on between, it looks like, Philip Mueller and Selena Boonstra on track, with Ramon Lorenzo trying his best to defend. But Mason Moffitt is going to come out in the lead. That's it.
What a drive from Mason Moffitt. I mean, he's still got some work to do, that's for sure. He had a flat 1 minute stop with 31. He's the only driver with a 31 second time stopped. So pretty much as optimal as you could get for that pit stop for him.
Something's going on with Ramon Lorenzo here. He has lost 3 positions in a span of 2 corners. But he has not pit. Maybe he's just letting the people go. He's now got Barry Jerry behind him. Let's see if he's looked like he was moving over a little bit and then decided, you know what, probably not the best place, even though it was a good place to move over. Of course, he is still sitting P10 effectively, but he has not pit. Meanwhile, everyone around him has already pit.
That looping right turn before the chicane, and Selena actually got through him.
Yeah, we have the battle now on screen, and it's going to invite Lucas Clanzeris to the inside of Philip Mueller, pushing him off the track almost. But he does make a send up into turn 8 there, and it looks like it's going to stick for the time being. These two guys are side by side through turn 9 into turn 10. Looks like Barry Jerry going around the outside of Ramon Lorenzo. It's going to put him up 1 position closer to Philip Mueller, but Philip just struggling, not having the pace today when he needed it most. So it's going to be a very strong showing from the McLaren boys, really bringing the championship a little bit closer than it was before. Within reach, yes. Within reasonable reach, we don't know. We'll have to see how the points pan out after it. But Mason Moffitt, a driver of a champion, is going to cross the line. Still, a couple of other drivers have not pitted yet for some reason. But Mason Moffitt, bar any weird events, commentators' curses, if you will, is effectively.
I mean, we saw quite a few incidents happen at the end of the race too, whether it was attrition, Joel, spun it.
Yeah.
Mr. Sir also had a last couple laps incident, so anything can happen in a race like this.
Yep, exactly. And we obviously have seen a lot of drive-throughs pile up. We did see Mason go off track a couple times here and there. Of course, having that red lap time visible on our screens here. Right now, absolutely in control. Caleb Tenney had a personal best last lap with a 50.120, so really not too far off the best overall lap of a 50.0 for Mason, but I'm sure that's going to change as Mason is going to cross the line sooner than later, of course, heading through Sector 2, but we are on board right now with SIG SVG, had a pass on Travis Fletcher, who got past Jackson Thomas recently as well. Ramon Lorenzo into the pit lane, and we do still have this battle. Lucas Clanzeras looking pretty racy with Selena Boonster right ahead of him.
Philip just looks like he is not feeling it at all. One thing I want to point out too is I don't know why it kind of snuck on me, but Jess is effectively in P3? Yeah, he's in P3 right now.
Yeah,
That's a great call.
Yeah, which is big for the Silver Championship. So Caleb Tenney, not getting quite as much of a gap as he and maybe we were thinking that he would be getting.
So he came into the pit with Sean Curcio, and while Sean Curcio got held up by a couple of early pitters, Jess has separated from Sean Curcio. Sean Curcio is down in 15th right now.
Yeah, he had the drive-through, of course, to deal with, which is very unfortunate for his championship.
Right.
But like you said earlier, we still have 21 minutes to go. Anything can happen. Tyler Egley takes the fastest lap, so there you go. He's actually quite a margin behind Wilder Vargas, and his time stopped was 45 seconds, so he also repaired damage. Of course, the car is going to be fast now, but to what extent can he really catch up to where he was before, just behind Wilder?
Yeah, that's a lot of time to catch up. That's always why. It's unless your steering's damaged, especially on a track like this where, you don't gain that much on the straight. One thing to think about, at least, I feel like the Mustang is just so annoying to drive with rear end damage. So if he had any rear end damage, then that could have been something that you want to fix, but I don't know. That still seems risky. Tristan Zamora just wait. That was
just let him go. Not sure if there was something that happened earlier.
I think I know what this is. So Tristan and Jess are teammates. Tristan thinks he can get past Caleb Tenney up ahead, who was about 4 seconds up the road. I think maybe he feels pretty fast. We'll see what happens. But I think for Jess's race and championship, I think he wants to be ahead. So we'll see if they return positions later on or not. But maybe this is a team orders kind of thing.
That's interesting. I feel like that's not. That's definitely a risky strategy. If Tristan Zamora can get ahead of Caleb Tenney, then that would be, that'd be good. But
keep an eye on that gap right now. It's about 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, and looking at their last laps, Tristan Zamora was 0.5 off of Caleb Tenney's lap, right? Or am I reading that wrong? I'm reading that wrong.
Yep. Yeah, it's about.
It's 0.4. 0.4 off.
4 or 5.
So, yeah, 4.5. Anyway, so that was definitely, we'll see. We'll just keep an eye on that.
Tyler Egley still holding the fastest lap with a 49.75, but a couple drivers within that, pretty close to that fastest lap at least. are Selena Boonster and Mason. And Mason's last lap was about half a second off of his best lap with a 50.49 this last go. But Selena really picking up the pace with a 49.9 last lap. She's really trying to push herself into the top 4. Looks like there has been an incident again with Roger Rodriguez, and this time Jackson Thomas as well, yellow flagged into the grass again. Unlucky race. Oh, it's the same area as Steve Foster. He's sliding back on the track, and Trey Morgan, the unluckiest man in D2. I swear, man.
He was the last driver that needed that to happen. I feel like
Unbelievable.
it is such a bummer for Trey. He has had just such a difficult season.
Yeah, Roger Rodriguez yellow flagged again. A lot of drivers have really spread out. You can really see the gaps just kind of showing. It looks almost like an endurance race at this point in time, but the rain is going to come to a slight halt in about 10 minutes time or even earlier. But Mason Moffitt, again, we're going to talk, speak highly of him for almost a millionth time this season. This has been the absolute driver of a champion so far, going from, what was it, P18? Out qualifying a silver driver in very unfavorable conditions to the lead of the race in about 35 minutes time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty. That was not an easy race that he had in front of him, and he has done very well. And now he really doesn't have to worry about anything. He's got nobody in front of him for quite some time. He can just kind of chill and make sure. I don't know what his track limits situation is, but that would be the thing that he's wanting to avoid, and so I'm assuming he can just sit there and chill. I mean, his last lap was pretty quick. He's currently up on his delta. I mean, this is looking like it's could definitely be a quick lap here as he comes across the line.
It should be purpled by a margin. 49.82 was his last lap. 49.635 is his current best lap and the fastest lap in the overall race. So Mason Moffitt trying to take as many points away from his rivals as possible by going from, of course, P18 on the grid to P1 and the purple lap for the race. Yeah, it's an absolute dominant drive. And now Philip Mueller is fading now behind Pat Cockcroft. Into P9 he is, and his last lap was a 53.407. So really, yeah, going over to the right to cool his tires on the wet part of the track, or wetter part of the track rather. It's just not been the race for Phil tonight.
No, not at all. But hey, he's made it into the top 10, so that's better than nothing. But yeah, his tires, I'm sure, are not feeling great. So he's just going to be looking at keeping this position basically.
I find this Porsche battle between P3 and 5 pretty interesting right now.
Yeah, let's get on this.
After this swap has not closed the gap to Tenny. If anything, that gap has increased by a second. But what we are seeing right now in the pit and now on screen is that Selena Boonster has closed the gap to her former teammate, Jess Osborne, who was the one that made the swap to Zamora. So this is becoming a bit of battle of former teammates. And maybe a risk to Jess. Jess's race pace is definitely slowing down a little bit. Selena was 0.7 quicker last lap.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been wise to not make that switch, and that way you have a car between, a teammate, nonetheless between Jess and Selena. Because I mean, right now, Caleb Tenney was, I believe, went into this race 30 points behind, roughly, Jess and Sean Curcio. So, and there isn't quite that gap there, but Jess still wants to get everything that he can and really take advantage of the situation that he's in, where he's so far up as a silver driver.
Yeah, gap is kind of just growing from Tristan to Cale, but it's now nearly 6 seconds. Again, not ideal. We did see, of course, Tyler Eggley pitting to repair his damage, and he's now 0.2 tenths or 0.2 of a second behind Martin Smith, and very close to Gino, who's 7 seconds behind Boulder. So he has made up some time. not nearly enough to bring himself back to where he was before fighting with Wilder Vargas, but he's fighting with Martin Smith, another rival of his earlier on this season. We saw, of course, Martin Smith winning Monza after a pretty dominant performance in the wet, surpassing Sam Stott's debut race in D2. But Tyler Egley makes very, very good work of Martin Smith up into P12, so the car is feeling fresh and alive under Tyler Egley's control here.
Mustang must not be fun to drive in these conditions.
It
It's not fun to drive in normal conditions, and it's probably not very fun to drive in this condition.
I don't think any car is fun to drive in this condition, to be honest.
I enjoyed the drive in the Lexus yesterday. I feel like it really thrives in this type of condition.
Yeah, maybe. I just think I'm not a huge fan of like the damp, greasy crossover, like right in between there where it's, you know, obviously there isn't much rain on the track. It's pressuring Mike Gino here. Mike is a little bit slow for Tyler's liking, but looks like Tyler got his work cut out for him trying to pass Mike, who's trying to maximize the team points here. Trying to, you know, get his braking zones right, spot the apexes, hit the apex. We see Selena Bunster right on the tail. We're going to hop up to that battle of her former teammate Jess Osborne, who's defending the inside, of course, defending inside not only for P4 but for also the points that it brings for the silver championship. And Lucas Clanzaris is Sean Curtis's teammate, and he's closing up a little bit. Selena Bunster pulls the over and under on Jess Osborne, but Jess is going to have the inside as they go into turn 2 here. Jess is going to try to maintain as much of a throttle advantage or a line advantage over Selena Bunster, but Selena outside turns into inside, and Jess has to leave the room here, and he does, but Jess is cleanly still through for P4. Fantastic racing.
Wow, yeah, that was really good, and Jess made that turn work, which didn't work for so many other drivers.
The Lexus had a sniff in there.
That
Almost
was
lost it.
that was an amazing save there from Lucas Clanzaris. That was, yeah, really, really close at a part of the track that you do not want to be close at. Even in the dry, that can be sketchy.
Oh, Jess has a
speed
little
in
bit
that
of a
corner.
moment in the chicane, does lose a little bit of traction. There's some bumping and rubbing between the two Porsches, and Lucas Clanzaris is just watching this on with angst as he's trying to get closer to Jess Osborne to help his teammate Sean Curcio, and Selena is through, but Lucas has got his hands full. I wanted to say he stuck his hand into the cookie jar, reached too far deep, and pulled out an oatmeal raisin, which personally I love, but maybe he was looking for a chocolate chip cookie and wasn't able to find it. It wasn't able to get past Selena Bunster, who is now up into P4, and Jess Osborne, of course, letting by his teammate. Not sure if that was necessarily intentional or not, but now has lost 2 positions to the good of his silver rival. Sean Curcio is sitting in P14, so all these points lost is going to be even better and better for Sean Curcio as they get to the final 10 minutes of this race and nearing ever closer to that final round of Nürburgring. And Mason Moffitt has pulled out a gap to Caleb Tenney of now 6.6 seconds, now 6.8 seconds. So Mason, again, driver of the champion.
And this is not only good for better for Sean Curcio, but it's better for Caleb Tenney too. He wants, Jess to fall down, because again, he's in P2 right now, that being 100 points, and the gap between the points gap between each position is a lot higher than where these silver drivers are used to being. So every position means quite a bit more than usual for Caleb
Is
Tenney.
Lucas Sean's teammate?
Yes.
Oh, this could be a little spicy, right?
Yeah, it could be.
It's all up to this
A
battle.
little aggressive dive here, getting Jess's head for the last 9 minutes of the race.
Perhaps. Never
I
know.
wonder if Jess didn't get the tire pressures right or something, because he's been definitely not looking super comfortable the last few laps.
So
To be fair, these conditions are probably hard for everybody. Oh, it's so tight between them going side by side to somewhere you don't want to be side by side at all. It's got to be so slow for Roger Rodriguez behind, when cars are going side by side.
Rogers
through a turn
blue
like
flagged,
that.
so he doesn't really have much to say in the battle, but Shane
I know,
Lewis
but
does.
yeah, that's still got to be frustrating though, because the amount that the cars check up in front of you, is just massive. But yeah,
Oh,
Roger
yes,
Rodriguez.
absolutely. Had to sneak it in.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Philip Mueller losing another spot, so those tires are really, really suffering right now, even despite driving the GTR, which keeps his tires pretty nicely in a good window. A little bit of flashing there, not sure what that's about. Maybe just a flash of sadness from Philip Mueller as his driver championship hopes go away. And was that Lucas Clenzaris going for a desperation move?
Dive in D1 or T1, and he hooked it a little bit and just got the switch back on him.
Okay, so the gap now 1.1 seconds from Jess Osborne to Lucas Clenzaris. Is going to invite Barry Jerry to try to get a little bit of his front nose into the quarter panel area of Lucas Clenzaris here. With 7.5 minutes to go, we've seen Barry Jerry and generally the Mustangs. Tyler Egley has been very strong through the chicane here. Looks like Lucas has got some pace there too. But yeah, we did notice as well just Philip not having a great race. And this could mean some interesting storylines heading to the final race in terms of the team championship. Of course, D1 gold or D2 gold at this point is pretty wrapped up. With Mason, of course, holding an 8-second gap to Caleb Tenney. I did say 15 seconds by the end of the race, so it's still possible, but pulling another 7-second gap in 7 minutes could be... It's probably impossible, but you never know.
I mean, the last lap was what, 7/10 faster than Caleb Tenney? So, I mean...
Anything's possible.
Yeah, true.
Still fighting here between Sean Williams and Charles Fletcher, two drivers eager to try to get as many points as they could with Shane Lewis, a driver who started and gambled on the slick tires at the start of this race. Now Sean Williams is trying to go for a move, and he does send it up the inside of Travis Fletcher into turn 11 here. But the outside is just a little bit stronger. Oh, a little bit of a slip on the curb, almost coming together there with Sean Williams, who takes the outside line. The two drivers get stuck, and through goes Shane Lewis with a little consolation bump of Travis Fletcher pushing him into Sean Williams, and that's going to be 2 positions gained for Shane Lewis. So through goes Lewis, not the Lewis that we all perceive to know from that little soundbite, but Shane Lewis is through. A couple spots there gained.
I mean, that was basically the same thing, though.
Through goes Lewis.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
Shane Lewis Hamilton. Through the chicane. Off goes Leclerc. Through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff here at Silverstone.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Sound exactly like him.
Hi, I'm Crofty. I'm British.
Oh my god. The right to be white.
Whoa, what was that?
Oh.
Whoa, that is a damaged Mercedes. Oh my god. Is this the forbidden slider that Ryan was talking about? Wait, Shane Lewis has gone off. Oh. Through goes Lewis
happened?
into the wall? What happened?
Oh, did he say?
Oh.
Oh, he was just murdered
Wow.
from downtown.
From the top rope.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah, just super late braking there from Williams.
All right, we have this battle. We were watching in the pit very, very attentively, at least I was, and I wanted to get a little bit of screen time here from Mike Gino and Martin Smith. As these two are pretty close together. They were obviously 2 gold jars starting pretty close to each other on the grid, and now they're still battling with only 5 minutes to go, 4.5 minutes to go for being precise. But Martin Smith is diving up the inside here. The inside does become the outside for turn 2, does become the inside for turn 3. So obviously we've seen a lot of fantastic racing between other drivers, but Martin Smith was able to get away very nicely in the Audi acceleration versus the McLaren, just not having that min speed to keep up with him. But Martin Smith was able to get it going. Does go a little bit deep in turn 2, but it becomes the inside for turn 3 and just a shorter line through the corner. Nice move there for the race winner from D2 this season.
Hard and tricky to hang it on the outside there. I had a couple battles with Jeremy Mercer last night out there, and he was unable to get the job done through the outside, but the switchbacks great job on Martin Smith to get that really dialed in.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
as pointed out in the chat by Jason Yarn, we are greasy.
Greasy.
The last few minutes of this race.
Let's hop
Oh,
up with
the
another
gap.
battle right here.
I was gonna say though, the gap with Mason Moffat and Caleb Tenney is 11 and a half seconds now. So, man, that is the worst angle as they go side by side into the hairpin here. I don't know if Phillips really fighting this too hard. Kind of just left the door open there, but yeah, and I mean, look at how much grip Tyler Egley has over Philip Mueller. I mean, it's like a different world.
Like a 30-minute difference in the tire degradation.
Yeah, right here we have Selena Boonstra, of course, pressuring Jess Osborne earlier. Now is putting the pressure on Tristan Zamora. So Tristan did have pace over his teammate very noticeably. We see the gap between car 90 and car 92 has grown to over 4 seconds, but now the gap between Selena and Tristan is, you can barely put a car through between them. It's only 2.5 tenths as they approach the chicane here. One Porsche following the other. Let's see who has the more fortunate bounce as they go through the chicane. Selena looks to be very comfortable over the curbs there, getting the power down nicely and just riding the bumper of Tristan Zamora here as he goes through the twisty bits here of turn 6, 7, and 8 now. Going to turn 9, now falling up into turn 10. A little bit wide there for Tristan Zamora, but it's going to be okay. He does keep the position for the time being. Let's hop onto the wing camera or the splitter camera of Selena Boonstra here. Let's see how close she gets through sector 3 with only a minute 45 to go. Mason's going to cross the line. It's going to be one more lap after this, so Selena's really going to have to put the pressure on it in this greasy condition. It has dried up. You can see barely any rain is falling on the track, and as a result, these tires are becoming more and more unbearable. As you can see, Tristan is sliding, trying to find any sort of grip that is left on this racetrack, on this rubbered line that has appeared in the final couple minutes here in this race at Hungaroring. But round 7 is going to come to a penultimate lap here with Tristan Zamora weaving on the straight, trying to get his tires a little bit cooled down, but staying on the rubbered line, trying to deter Selena from any moves here as she is following him into turn 1. Under braking, Tristan choosing a very defensive line, but that's going to invite Selena to gain a little bit more under braking here as they go into turn 2 here. Mason is clear with a 12.5 second gap. Very, very solid stuff for him. And it looks like Lucas Conzeras is trying to put some pressure on Jess Osborne as well. We can see in the picture there, the battle is not over yet for that silver title.
It's gone wide twice. And that has opened up all sorts of opportunity for Lucas as they go down this section. And every single one of them has gone wide.
Yeah, they're going to go side by side here? No, they're not. Okay, good. I was like, yeah, tight though, tight between these drivers. Barry Jerry right behind, waiting for anything to happen with the two cars in front of him.
And as a Lexus driver, that is probably the last place you can make a move.
And crucially, Sean Curcio does get past Mike Gino, so that's going to be very big for the championship if he has any drop races left. But I do wanted to point out that Mason Moffat is rounding sector 3 here, where there's a yellow flag of Trey Morgan, unluckiest driver in D2, coined by me. Thank you very much. You can see the hood flapping, but Mason Moffat is going to cross the final corner here, comes around the final bend. Mason Moffat is your Division 2 Season 18 champion, crossing line here with jubilation, and he has put an end, closed the book to a fantastic season. We are going to go back with this battle here. It's still not over between these two cars, and they're running the final corner here. Caleb Tenney going to cross the line in P2. A very, very solid result for him championship standing wise. It's going to propel him into a very nice position. Tristan Zamora holds off Selena Boonstra for P3, and Selena Boonstra right behind in P4. Jess Osborne, of course, fighting to the death in the second stint. Not the fastest. Very still happy with that P5. Looks to be swerving around the track, but Mason Moffat is doing donuts in the middle of the racetrack, which is not going to go well for anybody. But take a bow. I mean, he deserves to do that, and does realize his mistake in doing so.
Post-race ticket.
Post-race ticket. He loses the championship. Mike Gino crossing the line in P14 after being overtaken by Sean Curcio and Philip Mueller, crossing into P11. not the best results for him, and it's going to put him out of contention for the Gyres. But the team is still very well alive for him and Thomas Olhazen. Not sure where Thomas went. Where they could have secured it this week, but gonna have to wait to find out next week to see what happens there. Final lap battle between Sean Williams pushing Sig SVG through the corner. Oh, Sig is a little bit slow from the corner, but they're going to cross the line with a gap of 0.148 at the line. So very, very close between the two there. Another battle, we have Ren Aoki trying to follow Jackson Thomas. Both cars have been mangled up through this race, but it looks like Ren repaired his damage more or less. Yeah, Jackson Thomas struggling for the grip. We can see the front hood of Ren Aoki trying to stay as close, trying to set up the last corner here for a good exit, but the checkered flag just approaches you so fast that it's not going to be much to do for Ren here, and they're going to cross the line in P16 and or wherever they are. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. What a race, what a qualifying, what a season for Division 2.
Congratulations, Mason. That was well deserved.
Well deserved indeed, for sure. Everybody, give a huge round of applause to our competitors. It's been a fantastic Drivers' Championship. Of course, it's not over yet. We do have silver. I would say going to be one of the more entertaining silver fights at Nürburgring, and of course, the Team Championship will come down to the last battle, the last race, the last lap, possibly. But yeah, just one of these variable races. You just got to be in it to win it. We do have to say goodbye to Donovan because he is going to go hang out with some family. So Donovan, thank you for being around, joining us for another race.
Yep. Good times and massive congrats to Mason.
I will relay that to him.
Bye, Donovan.
All right. Well, it is that time of evening. We do have interviews. Of course, we'll save Mason for the last one. But we do have a couple of other new podium finishes. We do have Caleb Tenney, Tristan Zamora returning to the booth, of course, after winning silver last race, and was able to hold off Selena Boonstra for the last couple of laps. We're going to bring him in first, if possible. Where is he? There he is. Tristan.
Hello.
There
Round
it is.
2 of the noise. Yes, let's go.
There we go. Welcome back to the booth. I told you we'd get you back here at some point, and it turns out it was just 1 week later. So welcome back. It was a fantastic race for you. Very fun race to watch. But first and foremost, I want to ask about quality. What was going through your mind when you saw loading up into the server? You see the conditions going from dry to wet for the gold drivers. What was going on in your mind?
Hey, drive as fast as possible.
There you go.
I just took a guess. I was like, you know what? It was free practice. I don't know, some superstitious, if there's no correlation, but I was like, it's raining during the free practice, so surely it's going to start dry. I don't know. There's no really merit to that, but I had my dry set up on default, and sure enough, I got lucky with that. So hit drive, and I still botched quality, to be honest. I left like a second at least out there, but at least seemed to help our silver gang, It was pretty crazy starting grid.
Yeah, it was, and more to that, of course, you guys do have a very entertaining silver championship. Obviously, with these last two results, really propelling yourself up the standings, but not the luckiest of first halves of the season for you. We did see a little bit of a moment with your teammate Jess Osborne. He seemed to move out of the way. Was that planned? Was that done on purpose, or was he just not trying to hold you up?
It looks like it was. I wasn't in BC with him during this time. So I'm assuming he saw that I was faster than him and gave way. It's a kind of unfortunate too, because I think if he stayed with me, I would have definitely considered giving him the place, boost his, because he's obviously in the big fight, So if it wasn't for freaking Selena, I think that would have been possible, but I had to push toward the end.
Yeah, you mentioned freaking Selena. How was that, having Selena, who started towards the back, of course, one of the gold drivers who, one of the 7 gold drivers, or I believe 8 gold drivers, who, of course, had to suffer through the enduring conditions in qualifying. How was that, having her in your mirrors?
Honestly, shout out to her. She's so quick, man. I was sweating bullets the last 10 minutes because I was like, one mistake and it's over. But thankfully, the track kind of helps you out. It's not really too easy to overtake if you put your car in the right places. So thankfully, I I did that toward the end. So
Absolutely. We are joined, of course, this week by Kelvin Lau. Donovan had to go a little bit earlier because he's got family to hang out with. But Kelvin, any questions for Tristan?
Oh, I really was curious about that team switch, and Jess did confirm with us in chat that he did let Tristan go through, and then obviously Tristan had to defend for his life against Lena. So well done on a very tricky race. Definitely not easy to finish one of these and compete at the top. So just want to say congratulations on that.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was definitely a bit scary toward the last 10 minutes. And again, shout out to Jess, because I know I've gotten to know him for these past few weeks, and he's a very intelligent driver. So I'm assuming he played it to his race as much as he did for me as well. So shout out him.
All right.
What a great teammate.
Yeah, you're of course already started the shoutouts preemptively, but I'll ask you one more time if you've got any more shoutouts to make.
Shout out Mom, part 2.
Yeah.
Shout out Knicks. I don't want to talk about the score right now because I just put it on. So we'll
I haven't even looked at it all race long. So
yeah. Shout out Jess, obviously I said before. Shout out Caleb Tenney, who is sharing the podium with me, former teammate of mine. Shout out him. Shout out Selena, of course. Made me earn it. And yeah, I think that's. Oh, shout out Jack. Where's Jack at, man?
Jack is on a very nice trip with his fiance in Cape Cod, so he's enjoying some
That's
sunlight.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, if the off chance he's watching this, which he probably isn't, considering where he is, then shout out him.
I'll let him know that you gave him a shout out. He's going to be happy
Thank
to
you.
see you on the podium again, or overall podium this time, not just silver podium. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So, all right. Again,
Oh,
fantastic job.
wait. One more. I'm sorry. Shout out Daniela. She knows who she is. All right. I had to squeeze that in there.
Nice. Love
Very
it.
fun.
All
Thank
good. Hey, more shout outs the better. All right. We'll send you back down. Have a good night, Tristan.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Yeah, he did mention, of course, Caleb Tenney being the other podium member, so we're going to bring him up here. Caleb, welcome to the booth. Pretty exciting race for you. Seemed a little bit quiet at the start, but qualifying P2, I'm sure that was a bit of a shock. We talked with Tristan just now about how that qualifying was a doozy. Talk us through how that felt.
Boy, talk about luck with that qualifying, huh? Yeah, no, I think it works out for I'm a pretty consistent driver. I don't have like the high peaks of like, oh, I'm going to put in a killer lap, but I'm really consistent. And I had a setup ready to go that was just basically for every condition. So I knew like, if this is the conditions, I'm using this lap. And even with the increased rain, I had 1 or 2 good laps. And even on my last good dry attempt, I left maybe half a second on the board and was pretty bummed out about that. But then I saw the rain picking up and the golds not getting past a certain threshold. And I was like, oh my gosh, us silver drivers are going to be up at the top here.
Yeah, it definitely was a little bit of a shock, but that's the beauty of these variable races. You really don't know what's going to happen. And we talked about those drivers preparing. Like you said, you had a setup prepared and you were ready to throw yourself at the conditions, and you did so very well. We did miss you passing Barry Jerry for the overall lead of the race. I'm sure that must have felt electric being in P1.
Yeah, that was pretty great. So first lap, turn 1, we're not side by side. He had pulled ahead, but I trailed behind him. He goes deep into turn 1. And so I stay close through the first lap, and he does the same thing at turn 1 on the second lap. That opened up an opportunity for me to get side by side and get in front by turn 2. I defended on the inside, and then he got caught up with Rodriguez behind him, and that opened up a nice big gap for me to have that lead spot for most of the race until my pit when Moffitt overtook me.
And I'm sure that must have felt a little bit demoralizing, seeing Mason just fly through the pack.
I'm looking at where he qualified, and I'm like, man, okay, I think I'm good. I think I'm in the clear. And then right before my pit, I see him right on me, and I was like, what on earth is he doing? He's so quick. And then he did the overcut on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have no chance here. So I tried to keep it as close as I could and put as much pressure as I could on him, and he just held on longer than I could manage.
Well, hats off to you, man. You kept him honest for a bit. We are joined. I mentioned with Tristan that Kelvin is here. Jack is gone this week. Donovan had to dip a little bit earlier, but we do have Kelvin, of course, a very prominent member in the SRA community. Kelvin, any questions for our P2 finisher?
No, I want to ask. I remember my first time leading a race, my knees and arms were just like shaking with even if when I had like 50 minutes to go. Did you deal with any of that as you were running P1 for the majority of the race?
I was just talking to Travis Fletcher, my teammate, about I ate. So I'm on West Coast and I ate before the race when I normally don't. I usually wait until after. But I usually am like, oh, I could really use some food right now by the end of a race. So I feel like I would have been in a lot more trouble if I had not eaten before this. So I feel like that helped prepare me to go into this leading a race for, 35, 40 minutes.
New ritual,
Yeah, I remember
perhaps?
having the butterflies.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, what a mixed wet race. What a perfect opportunity race for the silver division for the Kyogre car to be leading, the Pokemon of the sea. What better chance for that, huh?
Yeah, I did want to point that out. Of course, you are, I believe, you probably are leading silver at this point. I think the gap between P2 overall, wherever Sean finished, I don't think he had a drop round. But heading to the final race, of course, that being Nürburgring, the gap before the race was from you to Sean, it was 32 points. I imagine it's going to be a lot closer now. How are you feeling about Nürburgring?
I'm feeling good. I'm actually relieved because going into finishing out after last race, I didn't do super well. And I was kind of bummed of like, oh, okay, I guess I can go for a podium spot in the championship. But then this race kind of turning on its head puts me right back in it. So, pressure's on for Germany. We'll see how it goes.
There you go. All right, Caleb, fantastic result. Any shout outs you want to make before we send you back down?
Yeah, shout out to my teammate Travis Fletcher for always keeping company in the race chat during the race. Shout out for Sig, who also hangs out in there. Shout out to Tristan, who's been my teammate in the past. And shout out Mason for just an absolutely crazy drive.
Absolutely, yeah. Tristan gave you a shout out, so that definitely sweetens the deal there. So
Love to see it.
love to see it. Absolutely. All right, well, Caleb, fantastic job on P2. Really looking forward to this silver battle next race. So I hope you bring the big guns. I'm excited to commentate over it.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to it.
All right, well, have a good night, man. All right, that brings us to the final interview of the night, and it's going to be, I imagine, a long one. Let's bring in the new D2 GOAT, to say the least. Mason Moffat, welcome to the booth for, I think, the sixth time. Clap from Kevin, for sure. 100% deserve it. What a race from you.
Thank you, guys.
You don't you seem excited, but a little bit shocked.
Yeah, so game plan. I was like a bit scared at the quality at the beginning, but then I realized, right, that like my drop race is P4, so Philip would have to go all the way to like P2. So originally my plan was to just not let him get to P2, but kept getting moves done, I guess. So that was crazy.
So plans change is basically what we're talking about. And I mean, with these variable races, they do in fact change. You obviously saw your teammate go into the pits pretty early, following suit with Philip. And I imagine that was a good gauge of where you'd end up. But you kept just going through the field, carving it out very, very masterfully. And I mean, by the end of what I think it was like 35 minutes, you were in the overall lead even after the pit cycle. So yeah, we just kept an eye on you for the entire race. And I mean, during qualifying, I imagine that must have been a little bit scary. But I mean, honestly, I didn't really have much doubt that we would be talking to you tonight, given the practice you've been doing this week. And I mean, the dedication of a champion is one thing that one quality that champions really need to really master. And you've shown that fantastically this season.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was just, I was not expecting that at all. I thought it was either going to be a calm race or a very hectic one where I crash, but neither of those two happened. So.
It really shows that, you got to prepare the setup. How is that going for you? Let's talk about, obviously, because, being the fastest car on track from the very start of the race, you obviously have to do something right with your setup. So talk us through kind of what went into that, what kind of effort, because I'm sure everyone else behind you could learn a thing or two.
Yeah. So first of all, you literally fixed my setup completely. But like my tire pressures were overpressured by 2 pounds the first stint, and then I knew it was gonna get lighter rain, so I put it down 3 pounds, and then it like was perfect in the second half, except that they were hot as hell. But yeah, thank you for helping me with the setup. That was great.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I guess it worked.
Yeah.
Mason, I'm curious, with about 30 minutes remaining, you were still yet to pit. How come? We talked about, in my opinion, that maybe you were just in a zone driving and just really feeling out your current setup and not wanting to have disruption. What made you stay out there for an extended period of time?
So there was a Laguna race that was variable weather, and it had just passed the 30-minute mark. It said no rain. I pitted. As I'm in the pits, oh look, medium rain coming in 10 minutes. Uh-oh. See how this is an issue? And then I ended up being on dry tires in the rain. Really sucked. Not fun. Lost like 15 places. But I didn't want that to happen again. So I stayed out until like I thought it would be okay and it wasn't going to switch over. Also, big indicator for me, Tyler Egley pitting, because I think he was also trying to do the like stay out long to make sure it doesn't go to like dry. So once I saw him going to the pits, I knew it was like the right time as well.
Experience really does play a part in these types of races, and I'm happy to see that you were really thinking about what was going to happen in the next little bit that could change a race. So huge call on that, and from my part, it was an amazing drive to watch.
Thank you.
All right, Mason. I mean, you don't have to show up next week, but you do have a championship, another one to win. How are you feeling about that? Of course, Mike had a fastest lap to show for a little bit. Looks like you two are pretty prepared going into this race.
I was wondering who got that fastest lap.
Yeah, it was your very own teammate, so there you go.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about bringing the fight to the Nissans? Of course, Thomas wasn't here today. Anything could happen in the last race. Are we looking forward to it, or are we kind of approaching it with expectations of possible, I guess, anguish is the right word, but...
Yeah, well, I guess Nürburgring GP has been my like public lobby track. So like when I started, I would always race at Nürburgring GP. So like I'm not bad there. I don't know how good Mike is there, but maybe me and Mike can hop on a few times together and help practice before the race day.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely an uphill mountain to climb, but I mean, you already solidified the D2 Gold Championship, so we're excited to see you in D1 next season. Congratulations. So how are we celebrating? Of course, I know that you're a young guy. You got school tomorrow, probably. Or do you have school tomorrow? It's already June.
I have school tomorrow,
sadly. All right. Going to bed soon, I presume?
If I can. My heart rate's a bit high right now.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to that, Shui. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Any shots you want to make before we send you back down?
Yep. Of course, my parents and my dad for letting me borrow his sim. And then also, shout out to the commentators and Anton for helping me with my laps and set up this race. Thank you very much.
Yeah, at least it didn't go to waste.
Yeah.
All right. We'll send you back down, Mason. Again, congratulations for a super dominant season.
All right. See you.
And all
completed last to first challenge.
Basically, yeah, pretty much. Things I really want to do in D1. So, I think the secret, Calvin, is just try to win every single race so you can win it as early as possible, so you can just have fun for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I think having the mindset of just sending it and just be a little bit careless is something that we really miss here, because you really, like I said before, you have to really balance the risk for reward, penalties, etc., etc. And in a way, he didn't have a whole lot to lose. Like he said, he was up significantly in points to Philip, and so he still had another race to go if he really needed to close in, and watching him drive the McLaren really makes me miss driving that McLaren.
Soon, trademark season 19. Kelvin's back in the McLaren championship incoming.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Blame Jeff.
To be determined. But until then, of course, we do have one more race to go. One championship is solidified, but we have one very close one still with the silver title yet to be decided. It's going to be decided next week in 7 days' time at Nürburgring GP circuit, not the entire Nordschleife, thank God, but the GP circuit. And it's going to be a finale for the ages for sure. Mason, of course, closing out the championship in round 7 in dominant fashion, and it begs the question: where's Coach? Where's Michael Jeffries, the destined one to bring it to fight Mason? Fortunately, we did not get to see that fight for the whole season, but while we could, man, it was amazing. But until then, thank you so much for watching. I've been Anton. Donovan was here earlier. I'm sure he'd say the same thing and be like, yeah, it was awesome. But Kelvin, any closeout words?
Oops, sorry. No, thanks for having me. Enjoyed it. It was a great race to watch. Super entertaining, and the drivers really put on a good show. Congrats again to Mason. But until next time, really, this was great. It was a super fun experience.
Absolutely. And of course, if you do enjoy these Sim Racing Alliance races, we do also race Division 4 over on YouTube at the same time at 9 p.m. Eastern. There was some fantastic racing over there as well. And of course, the variable conditions, they probably had a completely different set of conditions to us over here. So if you did enjoy watching this set of conditions, D4 probably had something similar in terms of the craziness. But it was, we do stream D1 and D3 on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch and on YouTube. So be sure to check those out if you want some more racing action. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you one more time next week at Nürburgring. Until then, have a good night, everybody. See ya!
Bye.
When I was just a new driver, I asked Coach Jeffries, what will I be? Will I be speedy? Will I crash out? Here's what he said to me: SRA, your division will be what it be. SRA is a mystery. Hey, when I ran my first endurance, I asked my team what life